You already know what it be. You know already what I come to do. You know, like, share, subscribe, follow my other social medias if you like to. But I'm gonna go ahead and hop into the messages. But however, Johnny William Luter, this is for you, sir. Rita Luter, Fee, Lisa Johnson, whoever. Because I'm 1,000% sure y'all come through just to come see what I'm talking about, right? And as I'm sitting here, you know what I'm saying, doing, in my own little world, in my own little zone, whatever, right? And I'm just sitting here, I'm sitting there thinking about all this shit. Because someone just told me, like, I don't even know why it even came to my mind. Because at the same time, I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, Shruta, why you even thinking about this shit? That shit happened when you was like, I think I was like maybe 13. It had to be. Because we left Lawton around like 2001. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we left Lawton about 2001. 2001. And how I know, like, a lot of stuff where everybody was sitting there listening to Patrick Lil Monique Luter, right? With his little fruity ass. Your ass was in the penitentiary for 10 years. You mean to tell me you came out and you was just straight? Nah. I just knew that you was going to do something with something that she left behind around. We was in Nashville around like 2002, between 2000, yeah, about 2000 and 2003, okay? I was in Nashville, right? But I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, Shruta, why is this memory even coming to you? Cause I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, I'm like low key, high key, past all of that stuff. But someone said, Shruta, you was overlooking something. Because it's like Johnny was so adamant to go so hard for Patrick, right? But one valuable thing that I'm going to bring to Johnny for him to sit there and ponder on and to look at, right, is I find it odd and such a coincidence because I'm 1,000% sure Denise had called and was talking to, everybody that night when she came down from Oklahoma City down to Lawton. We was in Oklahoma at that time. She came down to Lawton to come get me and Freeman, okay? And when after she came to get me and Freeman or whatever, she picked us up. She had us go to church with her. You know what I'm saying? Because she was like, I want to go praise and worship, guys. I know y'all, y'all ready to go to the house or whatever. But before we went to the house, right, Denise was like, well, she stopped by somewhere, or Patrick had asked her to, like, pull up. At that time, he had her pull up to somewhere, right? But wherever we had pulled up at, I just see Denise saying, I know you lying. Because she looking, because this is around the time where she was, Pat had stole like a refrigerator or something like that from her. It was something he had stole around that time, right? And when he stole this stuff or whatever, she just politely actually, it wasn't like, to be an argument or whatever, right? But this is the part where Patrick ain't gonna ever tell nobody, okay? He was the one that, promoted it. And he was like, well, so you shouldn't, he gonna tell her, so you shouldn't have never made me mad or whatever, right? But she came to do him a favor to come pick me up because it was like, Sheila had told him, she was like, I'm gonna stop letting you take this girl because every time you go, she'll come back. Because this is around the time when he actually started paying attention and was like, well, I'm gonna give her some money. Because he couldn't, once I caught on to what he was trying to do, right? And all his other little baby mamas and stuff like that, like Natea mama, I think at that time he was pimping out Natea mama, some little light skinned girl. And the light skinned girl was only like 15, 16 years old. I ain't even gonna hold you. That's what I'm telling you. Like, I lost complete respect because I was just like, well, this girl is young. And then when I see my mom, get involved in it and was like, well, come on, just to see what the girl can do or whatever. And she had some kind of dude. Like, I remember all this shit like this shit was yesterday. Because, like, when I say losing Denise, marrying Denise Lotus, that was only like the little bit of a world that I thought even exists. Like, where I thought life exists, she was like my only hope to feel like, somebody could believe in you. You could go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do anything, because that's when Johnny was still playing football for OU. So, she was the one like, yeah, you could do anything you put your mind to. But then at the same time, that's around the time she was waking me up to, like, she said, well, she was low-key opening me up to what auras was. But, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, when you don't got the name to, certain things, when people asking you stuff, you're not going to pay attention. But she was just like, I remember, because I think she was already diagnosed with cancer at that time, but we wasn't aware of it. But I figured it out when I had went into the shower, and she had like this this thing where you can do like your own home breast exam. And when she was doing it or whatever, I'm sitting there looking in the shower. I'm like, but why is this here, right? But I end up, the way I found out was because my teacher was like, well, because she was just sitting there. She looked at me weird. And she was like, well, what would make this kid, ask me such a thing? And then, like, I was just like, well, I just saw it in my aunt's house. I mean, I didn't know what it was about. And she was just like, oh, well, I knew the teacher. I think I asked my music teacher at that time. Because I think this is all around the time where I had did, what you call it? What's it called? Talent shows. We was having talent shows. But at this time, we was already in 7th grade. We was going to Central. And how I knew it was something, because Freeman felt embarrassed because it was a boy that was in his grade that I liked. His name was like Matthew. I remember, and she looked at me so crazy. She said, niece, I know you ain't gonna have me come over here and bring you to no boy house. I was like, yeah, would you rather for me to lie? And then she was like, you know what? You could have just lied to me or something like that. But she was like, she gave me credit because it's the fact, because I didn't lie to her. And she was like, yeah. And she introduced herself or whatever to the boy's father or whatever. He came to the door or whatever. And he was like, a little upset because it was like, well, it's a little girl. But he respected it because of the simple fact that I had came with my aunt. And then I had came with my cousin. He was like, yeah, he in my class. We go to the school, whatever. But at the same time, me not knowing that him and whoever else was paid to do that, and Freeman knew about it. So everybody else knew about it but me. Denise didn't know, nobody else knew. But it was just like, okay. But that same day as we got there, I feel like she either picked up on something wasn't right, because it was either Freeman was sitting there, looking disgruntled. At this time, Georgia, it was a girl named Charity that went to our school that, most of the boys, she was a light-skinned girl that everybody was into at that time. I still remember this shit like it was yesterday. Brittany Pollard, she, at that time, she wasn't with Brandy, but she was going after, our cousins was with the Rolling 60s and shit like that. But at that time, she was trying to go after, what's his name, Pappy. So when all that shit was going on, right, we get to Oklahoma City. She picked me up from my Sheila house over there off of Bell Street, and we get ready to go to Oklahoma City. And as we get to Oklahoma City or whatever, like I said, she wanted to go to church, do praise and worship or whatever. So as she goes and we go do this, right after, I think she either got a pager or call or something like that to call Pat. and to meet her somewhere. But wherever we met her at, she saw some stuff that belonged to her at whatever location we at. I don't know what location we was at, but I remember sitting there and she was sitting there in the van. She had her little caravan and she was sitting there looking at it and she was like, I know you lying. That she was sitting there looking at the stuff. She looking through her like her camera or some pictures or something. She was like, is this mine? And she got out the van. We had to sit in the car or whatever while she went to go talk to Peg. Excuse me. And when she went to go speak to him or whatever, she pulling out her Polaroids and she's sitting there, you know, looking at the serial numbers. At this time, he wasn't aware of that because he had literally like got out not too long ago from prison, whatever. And somebody would be like, how the fuck she remember all of that? I do. I've always did. But I just wasn't ever called to speak on it until now. But when she was doing it, this shit hurt. But it's all good. But, you know, as she was going through the stuff or whatever, she goes at it, he say something to her, and she didn't like it. And she was like, you know, what you say, what you call me? And I think he called her out her name or some shit, some random shit. And he was like, well, if you ain't never do such and such to me, I would have never had to do this. I had asked y'all for some money. She was like, but Monique, you know better than that. Well, you didn't have to take from me, you know, in order to do this. Because it was like, we was at somebody, I don't know where we was at. It had to be somebody else's house that he knew about, right? And you want to know what was the oddest coincidence, Johnny? The oddest coincidence. That night, that fight went down. I wasn't even up there in the city for a day, barely. I want to say I was up there for like a little bit over a day, right? This is when he was thinking that little boy, Dwayne or DJ or whatever, was his son or whatever. And that's when he was still waiting for the results to come back to see if DJ was his kid. And come to find out DJ wasn't, right? And as this is happening, right? I still remember that fight. When I say Denise told his ass up, mind you, he's been in the penitentiary. Denise fucked him up, had him pinned up, hemmed up against the wall. When I say, listen, Denise was a light-skinned red bone, baby. She was a yellow bone, okay? But when I say that woman can hit, I heard those hits. Like those are hits that is if you was on a football field and you heard the helmet hitting somebody, you know, on their uniforms and shit. Denise hits was hitting like that, and I was like, damn. Me and Freeman in the car like damn, you know, with the rest of the kids, they was like, oh no, like they're fighting or whatever. So we made it to the crib or whatever, you know. She had us go dress up, you know, take our showers and stuff like that because we got there like late in the night after they, you know, they fought or whatever. But then, you know, we did that, and then she had us come in. She was like, well, Freeman and Sharita, come out. We came in there, and she was like, what color you see? I was like, Auntie, I'm sorry to say, you know, because she was like, she started asking us what we was dreaming about. But then I remember while she was sitting there, and I was like, well, Auntie, I noticed this color over your head. She had a yellow aura. She had a yellow aura over her. She's like, you can see that? I said, yeah. And she didn't make me feel odd. She didn't make me feel crazy or nothing like that. And Freeman was like, damn. I kept saying something about clowns for him, right? So I was just like, damn. But you want to know what was funny? That following morning, because I want to say in the middle of the night, or Rita dropped off Unique at that time. Naya wasn't born, but she dropped off Unique over to their house because she was like, well, I got to go to work or whatever. And she was like, well, I don't mind. I'm going to have all of them here anyway. So she had us all there. We, you know, lay down. We was getting ready. She was cooking breakfast for us this day. I remember how it went down and everything. And this is how I knew Pat had called Denise's baby daddy, Gary, to come up there and start some mess. And when I say that, as I'm calling him, he knew that this man was coming. Because when I say, like, no, literally after the police was called or whatever the case may be to come show up, here come Patrick pulling up he's sitting there, he laughed. I saw him in the corner fucking laughing. And I was like, I didn't know how to take it at that time. You know, as a kid, you just sitting there like, nah, I wouldn't think that he would, you know, call the police on his own sister after a fight like that or nothing like that. Because I was accustomed to them, you know, fighting and stuff like that. But when he laughed and when the police was coming or whatever, trying to do their report, he gonna hurt him talking about, well, let me grab her and go take her home because all of this and stuff like that. But he was laughing. But as we driving, I remember he just sitting there in the fucking car with a smirk on his face, like, see, I told her I was gonna get her ass back. But then he goes back there. To this day, he still don't know that I heard him and Sheila having a conversation about how he set her up like that. Still to this day. But like I said, wouldn't nobody come ask me about how the shit that went on with Denise, right? But then also I knew something wasn't right when it was like when Denise passed on. Why is it that I didn't get no notification until 2 weeks after it happened? Because she was like, I want to see all of y'all, but I didn't know that she was passing at that time. Everybody else did. Sheila knew it, but didn't want nobody want to tell me. But I'm like, okay. So with her, passing or whatever, well, I was too busy trying to get to my coin. That's why it's like when it comes to Sheila, I don't fuck with her because it was like everything was always about money. If she wasn't getting no money out of the situation, she could care less. Like, why, why I'm going to sit her there, like, because she knew she was going to lose out on her benefits if she do that. So she'll call Carla every now and then. I'm like, well, Carla, can you take her? Because I need to get some money or whatever. She'll go out to, if she met a soldier or whatever, or if Ray, Derek Ray would, pull up on us or something like that. And I'll be like, yeah, well, I have been told you to go to the military, and, Sheila. And she'd be like, well, I know, but, she was accustomed to working at John & Cook's, but still working. But it was like her working at John & Cook's was just her way to keep a low key about how they was really, moving shit. Still to this day, low key, I still feel like she was the reason why Garcia ended up going to jail. When I say Garcia was the one, like, when it came to him being there, I was spoiled. When he was at the house, I was spoiled. But I still low-key feel like it was her ass that got that man locked up or got him caught up in some trouble. Still to this day. Ain't shit nobody could convince me otherwise. She was like, oh, he was aggressive. And I was like, bruh, I done seen niggas beat on your ass. And with him, he would not, like, he adored her so fucking much. Just him raising his voice, he wouldn't dare just raise his voice at that woman. Do you hear me? Garcia would not dare raise his voice at that woman. Like, he was the sweetest thing. Like, he would be mean to other people, but to her, he was the sweetest thing. And she just didn't know how to accept affection due to the fact, like the lifestyle they was living. She didn't know how to accept that shit. But I mean, growing up and shit like that, seeing that crazy ass shit, I was like, this bitch is on some shit. And this is how I knew Pat was the reason why Denise got set up and why my auntie got, her kids taken away. And I was like, the same way this shit happened with Denise was the same way that shit happened to me. And that's how I knew the whole time behind that shit was Sheila and fucking Pat. The whole fucking the whole thought of it, Sheila and Pat. And then when they knew it was money involved, that's when Carla and them got involved in that shit. And I was just like, bruh. It's nothing else. Like, that's why people be like, shit, why you don't get mad at other people? Because at the end of the day, anybody that ever did some fuck shit to me, they are like, it's not like to say like you irrelevant, but low key is irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, I look at that shit, it was just business for you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's how the fuck I grew up, and people be like, damn, why your mentality so fucking rugged and stuff like that? Like, shit, when it comes to the court, manipulating and shit like that, I grew up seeing these motherfuckers doing that shit. So it's just like, for anybody to try to pull, like, oh, I'm going to pull a quick one on her, I'm going to do this to her. It's like, how you going to do something quick to me? Like, motherfucker, I've seen every trick in the fucking book that you can do, because all it is just people doing shit in a new way, and then they feeling like they getting away. So it's like, that smooth talking, like, motherfucker, I see your soul. So at the end of the day, like, how you going to feel like you playing me? You playing yourself out of position, really, because how how people do it, brujeria, all that shit. It's like I was accustomed to that shit since I was a kid. So that's why it's like, I know when somebody trying to swoon or do shit, that's why I'm like, everybody like, you ain't mad? Nah, what the fuck I'm gonna be mad about? Cause shit, it come along with the territory. Whenever you playing certain shit and you dealing with certain people, it's gonna come along with the territory of what the fuck you dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So why would I sit there and be mad at anybody like, okay, well, I fucked her over, so she's not mad for fucking what, cuz? Because I had the worst fucking people sit there and betray me in the worst way in my motherfucking face. And it's from my own people that's supposed to be parents. You know what I'm saying? But then it was like, you know, shit makes sense of how they was moving. Because I was like, I had a feeling Denise was trying to tell me something before she passed on. And with them knowing that she was going to tell me something. And then I just remember telling Rita, I was like, I low-key feel like somebody punked her. Like, she was getting ready to have a fucking baby and shit like that. So for her to be, you know, all that, like, taking consideration, if anything, y'all could have let, you know, that baby live and shit like that. But that's why I don't even be tripping on shit. I can't even trip on anything because it's like the worst of the worst that you can see with certain people. I've been seen, I've been dealt with. So for me to be mad, it was like, even them taking my son, it was like, damn, I ain't never think they would do that one. But then it was like, damn, Sharita, you trusted them a little bit too much. That's where it was just like, damn, Sharita, you know, where you want to trust motherfuckers, it's like you can't really have trust. But at the end of the day, it ain't about me liking nobody shit. As long as I had love and I did the right thing, I ain't even fucking tripping at it. Because I ain't mad at you. Because the motherfuckers be thinking like, oh, she mad, motherfucker. I ain't got shit to be mad at with no motherfucking body. Because at this end of the day, it's a fucking game. Because if you got money off this shit just to fuck me over, that was business. How could I be mad at some shit if it was business? You got paid to fuck me over, right? You got paid to do what it is that you did to me, right? So where am I going to be fucking mad? I'm still trying to understand. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. Where am I going to get mad at a motherfucking person? You, at the end of the day, any person that fucking feel like that they doing some shit to me, at the end of the day, you still a motherfucking stranger to me. You still a stranger to me, cuz. So how I'm going to sit here and feel some type of way, Brody? You gonna, it's like, niggas be feeling like they doing some shit. Oh, I'm a scared motherfucker. You can't scare me. I've seen death so many fucking times off the hands of the people that's supposed to be parents, supposed to be family, since I was a little jit. So anybody feeling like you're doing something, courts, everything. I done seen the dirties of the dirty. I done seen judges fuck people over just for the less of fucking $20,000. Oh, you gonna fund my, you know, my foundation? You gonna fund my campaign? Motherfuckers that I always pay attention to, anybody that gets so fucking highly interested in politics, those will be the motherfuckers that will fuck you over with a quickness, cuz. Depending on the type of people marry, I used to have to pay attention to certain shit like that. People's nationalities, pay attention to families and shit, pay attention to people's movement and shit like that. Questions about how long you was locked up. That's why it ain't shit people that can do. And it's like, damn, so you, motherfuckers, you listen. If my own fucking folks supposed to be family to do me, that's how I knew. I was like, Petra, you a dirty little bitch. Patrick, Monique, Luter, Al, how the fuck you are? Alan King, my daddy, anytime he get drunk. But it was Johnny William Luter that took care of your punk ass, right? Because I remember coming back and showing, like, I literally seen who my real folks was, because it was like, as a kid, and I kept bringing the dream to him. Still to this day, I remember that where I seen this little boy. He said, I don't want to kill my parents. I don't want to kill my mama. I don't want to kill my daddy. And they made that boy kill him. And then after, when they did that, because it was something that I wouldn't do, I remember just sitting there looking. I remember screaming out for him, trying to reach for him, like, come get me, come get me. And I remember still having that dream all the way up until I was like 10, when they had took me somewhere and they were like, got me like hypnotized and shit like that. And I was just like, that right there, that's when I knew. And it was like, Shorty, you gonna have to play this shit to the left for a little bit until you can get motherfuckers to really understand how much you really pay attention to this shit. Like, when motherfuckers running money through, what you call it, massage parlors, Chinese food restaurants and shit like that. It's too much shit where I can sit here and shut down so many motherfucking places. But it's like, people just sit there and play on, you know, try to play on your top. But it's like, even fucking cops, I don't know what a dirty cop would do and how far they'd be willing to fucking take that shit. Why? Because them 304s, baby, when they know, baby. When them motherfuckers know, they know. That's why it ain't shit under the sun that a person can do to make me feel some type of way, baby. I'm gonna take your kids, okay, little kid. What you want me to do? I'm gonna cry for a little bit. I'm hurt because you know what I'm saying. I love my kids. It came from shitty ass fucking people. But at the end of the day, what the fuck you want me to do? Because having a psychotic break, you will have one before I would. You want me to mentally break down? You will have one before I would. Because you got to go work overtime to sit here and try to, oh, I'm going to make her feel this way. I'm going to make her feel that way. Are you sure? Something about Gateway Hospital out in Clarksville? That's okay. But it's just certain details where people just don't pay attention to certain things where it's like people pay attention to what they feel they want to pay attention, but you'll take the word of everybody else until it's like the only person that can benefit from this shit is them. And her knowing that Pat is on his way out, shit. Of course, it would make Sheila's interest to go ahead and get to know his new wife. She wanted to know every fucking wife he had, so she know whoever she got to take out just in case, because that's their agreement they had a long time ago. Hey, any of my hoes get out of place and I marry some people or whatever, this is what I'm gonna need you to do. Sheila and Pat always had this type of agreement for years, cause that's why every motherfuckers try to play some shit, motherfucker. You talking to somebody that's been around the fucking game masters. No problems. Anyways, let me get the fuck up off of here. I gotta pee. 27 minutes.